Well, it's time for us to get started. And so I just want to say, welcome, CMI family. We all know that funding our work is a vital part of what we do. And I want to start today with a quote from Kara Logan Berlin. And I heard this quote and I just thought it was so good. So I want to share it with you today. And it says, we have to be as committed to the art of funding our work as we are to the art of executing it. At its core, the art of funding the work means that we have to truly believe that the purpose and privilege of our work is to provide people with an extraordinary way to use their wealth that will change people's lives. And I just loved that. And I thought that that was so applicable to this conversation and what we're going to be talking about today. And as you guys know, today we're kicking off a two-part series on donor connections, how to build them, how to strengthen them, and steward them well. And today's focus is on donor stewardship and relationships. And we're going to have a special look at the work of Mission Increase, which I'm really excited for you guys to find out about the work that Mission Increase is doing. And we're going to start out by posting in the chat. So what I want you to do is post in the chat the answer to this question. What is your biggest hurdle in building or maintaining donor relationships? Again, that's what's your biggest hurdle in building or maintaining donor relationships. And while you're posting that in the chat, I just want to give you a few heads up. Today's session is being recorded, and I'm going to send you the follow-up link to this in an email next week. So be on the lookout for that follow-up email. And there will also be a Q&A session at the end of our call today where you'll have the opportunity to ask any questions that you might have. So we always want to begin in prayer. And so I am so happy to introduce you to the leader of one of our newest CMIs, Jackie Bledsoe of Happily Married Couples Indy. And Jackie is the latest recipient of the Community Marriage Initiatives Fund grant. And we're just so honored to welcome him into the CMI family. I'm so glad he's a part. So be sure to give him a warm welcome. And Jackie, would you open us in prayer today?
Yep, I'd love to. Thank you, Steph. Lord, we just thank you that we're all here today, and we thank you most that you're here with us. Your word teaches us that where two or more are gathered in your name, that you're in the midst. So your presence is here with us, Lord, even though across Zoom in different states and all over the country, Lord, we're grateful that you're right here with the midst of us, for Lord. Before we even get into donor connections and strategies and all that, we just want to say we want your will to be done first. So, Lord, so put your will in front of us and let us walk in your will, according to your will, and serve you as according to the way you set us out to serve in each individual role, Lord. We thank you that we have a great mission of marriage, which we love because you love and you created, Lord. So we just want to do our part. Show us how we can come alongside the work that you're already doing. Show us how to build great relationships, how to support and encourage and even equip the donors who support our missions and other missions as well, Lord. We thank you that even when we don't know what to do, we can ask you. James 1:5 tells us that when we need wisdom, we can ask and you will give it to us generously, Lord. So we're asking now. We're asking you to speak through Arnold and Anna today. Give us clarity about how to move forward well. Show us what health looks like, and it's not just growing, but how to be healthy as we're growing. Show us what trust looks like, Lord, not just funding as well. And then we're expecting you to do what your word says in Ephesians 3:20, do immeasurably more than we can ask, think, or imagine. We put it in your hands now, Lord. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
All right. Thank you so much for praying, Jackie. And welcome to the CMI family, man. I'm so glad you're a part. It's awesome. So, well, next we have a pre-recorded presentation from Anna Panter, and she's going to share insights on donor stewardship. And so we're excited to get to hear from her today.
At the San Antonio Marriage Initiative, we exist to strengthen relationships between husbands and wives, parents and children, and families across our city. But something beautiful has happened along the way. I've realized that the same principles that build thriving marriages can also build thriving donor relationships. In a world where loneliness and disconnection are rising, relationships are a precious commodity. So, as we help couples learn connection, we can also model that same intentional care in how we steward our donor community. We're keenly aware that every gift, no matter the size, comes from sacrifice. As Dr. James Dobson once shared, gifts often represent significant sacrifices people have made. His way of honoring donors was to work with the highest standards and to labor diligently toward meaningful impact. That has stayed with us. We hold the same conviction. Our donors have worked hard to earn this money. We will work hard to ensure it is invested well and yields a significant impact. At the heart of our work is the understanding that every gift is an act of generosity and trust, someone choosing to entrust us to steward it well. We honor every gift and every amount with gratitude, care, and an unwavering commitment to impact. So today, we'll explore ideas on intentionally and authentically cultivating donor relationships. We will explore a practical framework inspired by the same values we strive toward to inspire, resource, and empower marriages every day. Think of this as practicing what we preach. In marriage, love doesn't grow on autopilot. It takes deliberate investment. The same is true for donor relationships. We're not trying to impress, we're trying to connect. Each of the 5 key love languages can be a powerful strategy for relational stewardship. Quality time, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, physical touch, translated into appropriate personal presence or tangible connection. And when we translate these into donor care, we create connections that feel authentic, mission aligned, and deeply human. Presence builds trust. Just as couples need time together to stay connected, our donors need intentional time with us. A few examples of this might include scheduling coffee, tea, or lunch check-ins. Invite your donors to a quarterly roundtable lunch or date night events that are supported by your organization. This is where they can experience the fruit of what they're funding. Maybe send a mid-year video update. This can be a short, heartfelt report from the team that says, here's what your support made possible. These moments of quality time create shared memories. They remind donors that we value their presence, not just their partnership. Words of affirmation can speak life into relationship. Every strong marriage thrives on encouragement, and so do our donor relationships. Practice this in creative ways to stand out. For instance, send a "How can we pray for you" email. An email allows them time to process the prayer request and the invitation, and then they can thoughtfully respond. Let them know that our team will intentionally pray together at staff meetings for these requests, using as much or as little discretion as the donor prefers. Include specific affirmation in all of your updates. Because of your generosity, families are finding hope again. And be sure to rotate through every communication channel. Thank you notes, emails, calls to speak gratitude first. And maybe at the end of the year, handwritten holiday cards and reports. Carry a consistent tone of thankfulness and commitment and encouragement with a personal touch. When we affirm and pray for our donors, we're not just reporting impact, we're investing in relationships. Thoughtful gestures express value. In marriage, small surprises say, "I was thinking of you." And the same is true for donors. Send one thoughtful gift each year, something personal and mission aligned. For us, it's a custom cookie like the ones we make in-house, or a coffee date gift card for them to enjoy with their spouse or a friend. Or they may have free access to an event or online resource that will strengthen marriages. It's not the cost, it's the care behind it. Gifts remind donors they are part of something relational and meaningful. Serve one another in love. Just as couples support each other through service, we can bless our donors by serving them practically. Some practices include sending a resource or an article that encourages their marriage or family life. Offer to connect them to a SAMI partner ministry or a ministry in your own geographic area. Church programs if they need marriage support themselves. When they attend events, greet them personally. Anticipate their needs. Hold that door, save that seat. Service says, we see you and we're here for you. It reflects the heart of our mission. Presence matters, appropriately and warmly. In our stewardship context, physical touch translates into tangible connection. Send an anniversary celebration card to honor their marriage. Make small in-person moments meaningful. A handshake, a hug, when appropriate, a sincere smile at an event. These tangible touch points remind donors they are known, cared for, and part of our family. Across all 5 of these relational expressions, one theme ties it together: genuine gratitude. Every word, every invitation, every cookie, every card is a reflection of thanksgiving. Our goal is to make mindful, intentional decisions every day to commit to this work, to the marriages in our donor community, and to marriages across America. As we model the very relationship rhythms we teach, intentionality, gratitude, prayer, and presence, we hope our donors not only feel connected to our mission, but are inspired to invest in their own marriage and family. When stewardship becomes an act of relationship, it transforms giving into partnership, and partnership into shared purpose. And in the spirit of providing opportunities for stewardship, partnership, and shared purpose, we need to be prepared to make action steps easily accessible, easy to navigate, and easy to share. Let's take a brief look at the SAMI Donate page. This is the donor landing page on the San Antonio Marriage Initiative website. From the moment someone arrives, our goal is to capture a genuine human connection. The design keeps the Donate Now button visible at all times while leading visitors through a meaningful and empowering experience. Every visitor is different. Each one brings unique motivations and personal stories. That's why the language throughout this page is intentional. It blends heartfelt storytelling, simple navigation, and data that builds trust. You'll notice we've also included authentic quotes and perspectives from people whose lives have been impacted by our work. These voices help visitors connect emotionally and see real life impact behind their potential gift. And finally, whether or not someone gives, our goal is relationship, not just a transaction. That's why every page experience includes an opportunity to sign up for our monthly newsletter. This is so we can continue to serve, inspire, and grow connection. And thank you so much. When we nurture relationships with care and consistency, generosity follows naturally.
Well, all right. We're so grateful for the expertise and the heart that Anna shared and what she brought to this topic today. And next, it's an honor to be joined by Arnold Kimmons from Mission Increase. After more than 30 years as a sales and marketing executive, Arnold graduated from the corporate world in 2014 to serve nonprofit and ministry leaders. He is a South Carolina area director for Mission Increase, a national nonprofit that consulted with over 3,000 organizations last year. He's based in Greenville, South Carolina. He teaches and coaches leaders in various capacity building topics such as fundraising, strategic planning, marketing, board governance, and leadership development. Arnold and his partner currently serve over 230 nonprofits in the Carolinas. And Arnold and his wife, Christy, have been married for 40 years. They have 2 grown children, a daughter-in-law, a son-in-law, and 3 grandchildren. And Arnold's mission is to help the people who help people. And I just love that mission. I think that is so good. His mission is to help the people who help people. So that's all of you guys. And so, Arnold, whenever you are ready, sir, we're honored.
Well, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. And yes, the mission is, my personal mission is somewhat unique. I tell people that I'm not on the front lines the way you are, but I and all of my colleagues at Mission Increase are here to help you be more effective, help you accomplish your God-given mission. I loved things that Anna spoke about. And what I'd like to do first is let's just debrief that a little bit. So either open up your microphone or you can type in the chat if you prefer. But a couple of people tell us, how did you react to what Anna presented? How do you feel about that? What would you affirm about what she spoke about?
Yes, hello. My name is Avon Banks, and my wife and I are with Palmetto Marriage Family Initiative. I think one of the things that was very important is building a relationship in order to be able to have the pastors hear what our mission and vision is towards helping their ministry and other ministries throughout the state. We have, and like a lot of you that's already on here, it is definitely a slow process, but I think with the time that it takes to build relationships will help be able to prayerfully and hopefully get donations, in the future.
That's
Good.
cute.
Yeah, that's okay. Excellent. So we're going to unpack a little bit more about relationship and how we do that. Anna got us started, and I'll give you a couple of more things as we move along. Someone else, how did you react to her presentation?
Rebecca in Virginia. I loved the way that she connected it to the 5 love languages. That's so perfect for what we do with marriages and building relationships and strengthening marriage, and just really helped me understand, a lot, made it tangible, I guess you would say, kind of breaking it down into those 5 areas, because not everybody has all of the love languages, but when we can start to see like who our donors, what their love language is, we can speak it back to them in a way that is relational and builds that trust. So I love that.
Yes, I was struck by that as well, Rebecca, the first time I listened to it, because, and I think she used the terminology mission aligned. It so aligns with what you already know. And so I think that's really important. She framed fundraising and relationship building in language that you already understand. I'll give you an example from kind of like almost the other end of the spectrum. So I have several organizations that I work with here in South Carolina that come to mind that work with men. They're like men's ministry. And one is for guys who are not really comfortable in church yet for whatever reason. And so they have this huge farmland, and they bring men out and they sit around a campfire and they go fishing and they go hunting. And so when they talk about fundraising to their donors, they don't use the love languages, right? They use warrior language. So I think that's a huge step for all of us, is already taking something we're familiar with and being able to translate that into the donor relationship world. So very, very good observation. To me, that made it feel authentic because you already understand those love languages and can compare that. All right, someone else, what was a takeaway? Or maybe you found maybe a gap or a question that came up as you were listening to her presentation.
This is Melissa from Wyoming. I think for us that it takes the time to be with partners to learn their love language. And that can be challenging. If you don't know their love language, you don't know how to speak into their life.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great observation. Relationship takes time. It really does. Good. Good. Well, let me give you a couple of things that I think will be helpful. Bill, did you have a comment?
Yeah, just I like the idea of you're building a partnership when you create the thing. Then they feel like, well, they're just not after my money. You're after something I believe I can be part of this, not just through my finances, but through other ways.
Yes. Yes, that's a great observation. So someone actually mentioned it in one of the chat, but at Mission Increase, we talk about transactional fundraising and transformational. So transactional would be very much secular based. Often in transactional, we're treating donors almost like they're just the ATM machine. Like your job is just to give me money so I can go do the ministry, right? That's not transformational at all. And so we teach, and obviously in our short time today, I can't go through our entire curriculum, but it is based on principles of transformation that we find in Scripture. So how do we build a transformative relationship with our donors? So let me give you the first thing I want you to think about is messaging. What are the kinds of things that we can say to our donors? Following up on her conversation about building relationship, expressing gratitude. And she talked a lot about communication in different ways. She gave you some ideas and suggestions about communicating with the 5 different love languages that people respond to. The question then comes up, well, like, what do I actually say? Like, okay, I understand I should use this language that so-and-so likes, acts of service, but like, what do I actually say? So here's an acrostic that you can remember. I want you to think about, how do I give my donors air? A-I-R. So A is acknowledgement. I is impact, or excuse me, I is invitation, and R is report. So all of your communication with your donors should fall into one of those 3 categories. Acknowledge, which is thanking. So thanking people for their gift, acknowledging their service, if they've been praying for you or if they've responded to some of your communication, acknowledging that. So the first air is acknowledge. The second is invitation, and that's inviting them to take a second step or a third step or a more consistent step. So it might be asking them to give again. It might be asking them to give on a monthly basis. So it's an invitation to come in and to experience what you do in a greater way. And the third, AIR, is to report. And so that's where you actually are reporting back to them the impact that you're having. So whether that's an end of the year letter or an annual report or a special, maybe you had a special initiative that you were doing or a special presentation in your community and you want to let them know about the impact that you're having. So AIR, acknowledge, invite, and report. So as you try to apply in each individual case the love languages, this will help you format exactly what you're going to say. Now, we say that it's really difficult to do all 3, A, I, and R, in the same communication. It's almost impossible. I've seen it done well a couple of times by some really professional marketing associations or marketing agencies. What's best for those of us who are not full-time professional marketers is to think about no more than 2 at a time. And I would say focus your communication on 1 at a time. Here's what we don't want to do. We don't want to acknowledge and invite at the same time. You may have had this experience, and if you have done this, I apologize in advance. I'm not really meaning to step on your toes, but you may have had this experience. You made a gift to an organization, a financial gift to an organization, and they sent you a letter that acknowledged and thanked you for that gift. And in that envelope, when you opened it up, was a response envelope so that you could give again. So what does that say? Why, Bill, thank you for your donation. It wasn't enough. Send more. So we don't like to put acknowledgement and invitation together. It sends a really bad message. Now, if you have monthly donors who send you a check every month and you want to send them a self-addressed envelope or a stamped envelope, that's okay. I'm not talking about that. But I'm particularly thinking about that first gift that someone gives to an organization, and then they send them a thank you note and a return letter. It just says the bad things. The two that do go together well are report and invite. So maybe as part of your end of the year giving campaign or part of a special project, or just randomly as you acknowledge someone's gift, not acknowledge, but as you report out to the work that you're doing, is a good time to invite people to give again or to step out, become a part of your prayer team or other things. So think in terms of, how do I give my donors air? So how do I acknowledge what they're doing, what their gifts have that they've given to us? How do I report on the impact that we're having, and how do I invite people to take a next step? So acknowledge, invite, and report. That'll give you some idea, I think, about what to say. All right, so let me shift gears a little bit and tell you another way to think about how you might begin to tell the story of what you do. I noticed that the answer to the question that Steph posed, that a couple of you were very honest. So someone said fear was the biggest obstacle. Another one said that confidence was a big obstacle. You are in great company. Most fundraisers have experienced both of those, especially as we're getting started. A fear of talking to people about this uncomfortable subject sometimes for some of us, or just a lack of confidence. And so I want you to think about, and let's talk for a few minutes about that first conversation. So maybe someone has introduced you to a person that they think would be a funder or a potential funder for your organization. You've kind of traded some emails or maybe a couple of phone calls, and you've got an opportunity now to visit in person. And you've gone and you're sitting and you're going to have that first cup of coffee. What do you say to that person who you're just beginning to get to know? So let me give you a formula that we think about as the key message for an organization. And it has 3 parts. So the first part is this: what is the problem that you are trying to solve? The second part is, what are you doing about it? Or the solution. What solution does Marriage Initiative offer? And third, what impact are you having? What is the problem? What is your solution? What impact are you having? Now, you have the benefit of having so many of you on this call. You're all doing the same thing. I'm usually talking to 25 or 30 different nonprofit ministries, and they're all doing something different. So you have a unique opportunity to collaborate. We might even get part of that first part done today. But here's why this is so important. And if you hang around me for more than a few minutes, you'll hear me say this: every nonprofit leader I know, including me, can talk for 30 minutes about what we do, but can you do it in 30 seconds? Right? You've heard this story, or you probably heard it referred to as the elevator pitch. Now, most of us don't live in cities with big skyscrapers, and we don't ride a lot of elevators. I like to think of it this way. You're standing in line at the grocery store, and someone that you haven't seen for several years, maybe 20 years, maybe someone from high school, comes in line with you and says, "Oh, Steph, oh, it's so good to see you. Like, what are you doing these days?" "Well, I'm with Marriage Initiative." "Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, what do they do?" Right? And so what do we tend to do? We jump right into, here's all the things that we do. We have seminars and we care about marriage. I like to say this, as a potential giver to your organization, if I don't care about the problem that you're trying to solve, I really don't care what you're doing about it. So as communicators, our first step in this process is helping people to understand the problem. Now, to you, and maybe to me, and maybe to some of the people that you interact with, the problem is obvious, right? Marriage is on the rocks, so to speak, these days. So maybe it's obvious, but I bet if we started thinking about it, that we would understand that it's not so obvious. So the first thing I want you to think about is, how do I, in one sentence, tell someone about the problem? And then the second is also, in one sentence, can I take all that 30 minutes that I can normally talk about what we do, can you put that into one sentence? And then finally, the impact is obviously the lives that are changed, the marriages that are saved, the relationships that have been reunited. So there's several ways that you can communicate impact. A very simple and effective one often is, in the last year, we did this. Others might be, since we've started, we've had this kind of impact, and give numbers. So I'll give you an example, and I will kind of follow my, what did she say? We're going to practice what we preach. So I'll give you the key message for Mission Increase in South Carolina. And it's a very simple one. Most small to mid-sized nonprofits, just like you, cannot afford to pay for professional training. We have a donor-supported model that allows us to do it at no charge, so that nonprofit ministries can grow and achieve their God-given mission. So there we go, in 3 sentences, and it might have been 2, depending on how I said it. I just gave you the key message for Mission Increase South Carolina. By the way, it's also the same for most of my colleagues around the country. So literally, if you and I were standing in the grocery line, I would have time to say that, and then judge from your reaction. You might lean into that and go, "Well, how do you do that for free?" Or, "Oh, I didn't think about that. I just know that, Salvation Army and Habitat, they got all kinds of money, don't you?" And so this begins a way to have a conversation. It also becomes a filter. So if someone hears you give your message and they go, "Oh, well, Rebecca, that's very interesting. This weather's really changing right now, isn't it?" Right? So what does that say? That says, "I don't want to talk to you about this. And so don't spend any of your energy trying to convince somebody about how important this is if they don't already think about that." So, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is your solution to that? What impact are you having? And we're going to practice in just a minute. But before we do, let me address those of you who are just getting started, because I know we had at least 1 or 2 on our call who are in the opening stages of establishing a marriage initiative. So you don't have specific impact that you can talk about right now. So we would say your impact is aspirational. We hope to do this, or we expect to have this many marriages that we're going to affect over the course of the next year or two. That is a reasonable way to frame up your impact if you're just getting started. Alternatively, what you can do is you can reference marriage initiative across the country. You can say something like, my colleague in such and such a city that maybe is the same size as yours has had this kind of impact, and we believe we can have that level of impact in our city too. Or you can reference marriage initiative across the country, all of my colleagues together. So Steph mentioned that in my bio, right? So Mission Increase across the world served over 3,000 ministries last year, and my partner and I served over 230 in South Carolina. So there's different ways that you can talk about your impact. And those of you who are just getting started, what you might do is reference what's occurred in similar cities or with Marriage Initiative as a whole. All right, so let's do a little work. So how would you frame in one sentence the problem that you're trying to solve at Marriage Initiative?
I'll jump in again. This is Rebecca, because this is something that I've really been challenged with. I've been in nonprofit for a long time. So, of course, fighting for marriages is important. But the tagline that we use here in Virginia is get married, stay married, enjoy the journey. And so I would start with something like that. We're trying to help people get married, stay married, and have fun while they're staying married and enjoying the journey of a lifetime of marriage. Something to that effect.
Okay. All right. What's the problem? Why are marriages failing, or how many marriages are failing, or it can be a statistic, and be some reference to that. Someone else.
Yeah, I would say the problem in that is the staying married part, that so many marriages are falling apart, and finding that the fun in being married is taken over by the stress of life. And so we want to help people enjoy that part of being married and make it last a lifetime. Okay,
good. All right, so that's one way to frame up the problem, is that the joy of marriage goes out for some couples, or some couples lose that joy of marriage, which leads to the kind of national statistics that we have. Okay, someone else. I can't see everybody, so if you raise, just jump in.
Okay, this is Avon, and this is fictitious. I'm just taking a stab at it. I would start off and say, hey, John, did you know that 52%? I would say, hey, John, did you know that the divorce rate is 52% in my county here in Richland County? So I would start it off with a question.
Good.
If they ask, what do you do? And then I would say, hey, John, did you know that the divorce rate in Richland County is 52%? And then go into the next part, like you said.
Yes. Okay, good. Yeah, we're just thinking about the problem right now. We'll get to the others. So, but that's really good. So statistics are valuable, especially if they're eye-opening. And I love the fact that you made it local, not national. Like, I care about where I live, so my city or my county. So very good. So 52% of marriages in Richland County fail. That's a sobering stat. I don't know the stat. You probably do, someone. But I understand that marriages within the church are just as likely to fail as marriage for folks who don't go to church. Does someone know that stat? Okay, maybe not. But that's a good way to engage someone. So Avon, I like that, asking a question. So my clients who work in the space of trying to prevent human trafficking, one of the ones that they like to start with is, did you know that 100,000 American children are trafficked every single year? Now that's a sobering stat. That gets people's attention. So we don't have to finalize it today. In fact, this might be an exercise that you work on together over the course of a couple of staff meetings, Steph, of everyone kind of sharing their idea about what is the problem. Okay. All right. So let's move on to the middle one. What is your unique solution? What are you doing to solve this problem? Who would like to think about that in one sentence?
I'll jump in. Okay.
Bill.
I have a background in education. What I saw over the years was children coming from broken homes. So we have a program in our schools to help young people develop relationship skills so they know how to get along with other people.
Okay, good. So we'll build relationship skills into the next generation. So here let's get a couple of ideas, but let me say this before we do that. Here, the tendency, remember I said we can all talk for 30 minutes about what we do. The tendency here is to try to tell everything that we do. And that then what happens is you start to lose people because you go on and on and on and on. Me too. So the goal here is to think about, maybe you have multiple programs or services that you're offering to help fix marriages. What do they have in common? So that you can, in one sentence, encapsulate what you do. You might not tell everything, but that's okay. It leaves people wanting to ask questions. Remember, I said we offer free workshops and coaching. I didn't tell you all the details about that, which I will in a moment, though. All right, someone else. How would you, in one sentence, talk about what your solution is to that problem?
Hey there, this is Shane from Western North Carolina.
Okay.
I generally would jump in there and say, we here at Western North Carolina Marriage and Family Initiative, we offer marriage enrichment resources, classes, and coaching and mentorship. So all those things we try to put that into a box sometimes, but it's a much larger thing. So it's hard for me to put it in one little sentence, but I need to work on that.
Okay. Well, but you made a good start. I like that. You encapsulated that. Good. And Dennis, I see your electronic hand.
Yes, I'm going to take a crack at it. It's going to be rough, but I'll give it a shot. I'm going to try to combine number 1 and 2. In terms of what's the problem. We recently discovered that Bay County has had the highest domestic violence rate of all the counties in Florida for all 8 of the last 8 years. And in fact, it's 250% of the statewide average. We did some analysis on those couples that went through Adventures in Marriage over the last several years. And what we discovered is that of those couples that reported at the beginning of the class that they were very unsatisfied with the way they handled conflict, of those couples, 81% no longer stated that they were unsatisfied with the way they handled conflict at the end of the program. And we think, therefore, if we were to target those couples that actually have minor levels of domestic violence, we think we've got the potential of perhaps significantly reducing Bay County's domestic violence rate. And we're actually looking for, so I guess I end. Okay, that's it.
Yes. Well, you actually were going into the 4th part, which is where we actually invite people to be a part of it. So
exactly. That's where I was going to go. And
right.
if only we had some additional funding, we'd love to be able to run a pilot whereby we actually targeted like 30 or 40 couples that had, their first report into the sheriff's, for example, their first report, and to see, would we be able to actually keep them from having subsequent reports of domestic violence. But unfortunately, we don't have the funding for that. All we're looking for is maybe $30,000 to run a pilot. Do you have any ideas, Arnold, on how we might be able to raise that $30,000?
I do. I absolutely do. So Dennis helped us see a couple of different things. And I'll kind of start to wrap it up. So first of all, one of the things he did is he actually did it in a different order, if you noticed. So he told me the problem, and then he jumped and told me the impact they were having, and then kind of backfilled into the solution, which is okay, because the goal is not to make this 3-sentence problem, solution, impact, this 3-sentence message. The goal is not that you memorize it and it becomes a script. The goal is that you have these 3 key concepts so embedded in who you are that at the drop of a hat, stand up in front of the Rotary Club, that you can speak about it in 30 seconds or 3 minutes or 30 minutes. And obviously, depending on how much time you have, you can make it more elaborate or you can really refine it. So can you do it in 3 sentences or like 30 seconds? But also this then gives you the opportunity to speak longer. If you're given a 5-minute opportunity to speak in front of a church or a civic group. So problem, solution, and impact. And when you can tie the impact, as Dennis did, when you can tie that impact directly back to what the problem is, now you have really effective communication. So I would encourage you to work on this as an exercise, either as a group, because you can share, especially the problem and or the solution parts of it, or you can work on it with your team or your staff locally. But having this idea, this is my key message. There's a problem. I'm doing something about it that's unique, and we're having this kind of impact. Here's the other powerful thing about this is that this can be a framework for all of your communication. If you've ever woken up on a Monday morning and you've looked at your calendar and it said, send donor email this week, and you're like, what do I say? Like, what do I talk about? Problem or solution or impact. In fact, we use this same framework when we train people on how to do an end of the year fundraising campaign. Make some of your communication about the problem. Make some of it about the solution. Make some of it about the impact. And then tie it all together with an invitation, especially if you have social media. So you can do, Facebook can be about the problem this week, and Instagram can be about the solution, and you can send an email about the impact. And next week, you can change that up. So this can be a real framework for all of your communication, not just when you sit down face to face, but it also can be that. If any of you are doing fundraising events, like a banquet or a gala or a luncheon or a brunch or a breakfast, this makes a great framework for your agenda of how you lead people through that event. Is talk a bit about the problem, maybe have a testimony, talk about the solution that you offer that's unique, and then have some impact statement. Again, a testimony is fine. That when it comes to testimony, though, I will make this last recommendation. As we all know that, Oprah never gave up the microphone. So don't, because most people, so many of us are afraid to speak in public, but once we get started, we don't know how to stop. So I recommend for testimonials, like get a video. We all have professional video cameras in our pocket these days. And so take advantage of that and use those. So with that, I have just a little bit of time. I want to tell you a little bit more about Mission Increase. So Sam's going to throw up our first slide, and this is a map of the U.S. and it shows the geography, or it shows where all of our Mission Increase area directors are located. And so you can find where you are and see if we are near you. There's one dot missing. We're also now in the Gulf Coast of Alabama. The dot in South Carolina makes you think we're just in Columbia, but we're actually in Columbia, Florence, and the upstate. So even I'm not sure where you're from, but if you have Palmetto in the name, you must be in my state. So we also have, in addition to these geographic locations, we have someone who works with all of the nonprofits that are a part of Mission Increase who are not there. So we have some remote, or we call it a virtual group as well. So you are able to be a part of a group within the community if you live close to one of these locations. If not, you can join our national community. And here's what we do. All of this, by the way, is for free because we are a donor-supported organization, just like you are. Is we do quarterly workshops, and that's where we gather in person if you're close to these locations, or if not, online for a 2-hour workshop on a specific topic about fundraising, strategic planning, marketing and communication, board development. Those are our typical topics. And then we also offer group and one-to-one coaching. So group coaching is a little bit like going to lab after your chemistry class, where you got a chance to mix chemicals together and watch them blow up. It's a chance for us to take what we learned in the workshop and to begin sharing with each other and learn from each other. One-to-one coaching is when you feel that you need to go deeper into a particular topic, especially that of the workshop. So this is where we're located geographically. We do workshops and we do coaching. Sam, if you'll show the next slide, here's a QR code that you can scan for the next step, which is to create a free account. So everything that we have to offer is at no charge to you, but we ask that you create an account. Once you do that, then you will start receiving communication either from the area director that is closest to you, or if not, you'll receive the communication from our national office about the national remote meetings. And you can then join us for workshops, register for coaching, and be a part of either a local Mission Increase community or the national community. And again, it bears repeating one more time. All this is at no charge to you. So with that, I know we have a couple of minutes left. If anyone has any questions about Mission Increase or how you can get engaged or involved with what we do, I'd be happy to handle those. Or if you have any follow-up questions about our content from earlier. Dennis, I see your hand.
2 questions, Arnold. They're both related to pricing. Number one, understand it's free. So 2 questions related to that. Is there a quantity discount if 2 of us or more participate? And the second is, does your free training come as advertised with a full money back guarantee, Arnold?
So actually, Dennis, we do better than that. We give you a double the money back guarantee. And to your first question,
I'm impressed. Yeah, go ahead.
And to your first question, not only is it a discount if 2 or more join, you can have your whole team join, the whole board, everybody. So
wow, at no additional charge. That's impressive.
That's right. No additional charge to you.
I don't know about the rest of the group, but I'm up, got my iPhone out. I'm signing up right now, Arnold. So okay.
And Dennis, you said you were in Florida. Where?
I'm in the Panhandle, which seemed like quite a distance, but you did say something about Gulf Coast of Alabama. I don't know.
So yes, I'm guessing you would probably be closest to Mobile.
Possibly. Okay. So is Mobile a new location that's setting up, or?
Yes. So he launched earlier this year.
Mhm.
Oh, that does actually give me another thought. Is the way we work is so quarterly. So we rotate topics quarterly, but each quarter, every mission increase area director around the country is teaching the same thing. So it's not like, well, oh, I would need to talk about strategic planning. Well, Arnold's teaching that, but Joe's teaching something different. No, we're all teaching the same topic at the same time. So Dennis, depending on where you're at, there's also we're Suncoast, so in the Tampa St. Pete area. So whichever's closer.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question. I don't know if you can see my hand.
Yeah. Oh, I see it. There you go.
Yeah. First, shout out to South Carolina. I saw the palmetto on Avon and Valerie as well. I went to school in that area, so I immediately saw that too. My question is actually where what you shared today was great. And I spent a lot of time coaching and teaching through messaging and using messaging for your marketing. And what you taught is phenomenal. So I wanted to know your background and where you got that from. And is that something that everybody at Mission Increase learns, or are you kind of one of the anomalies that have just studied this and gotten real versed in it?
No, the key message is a huge part of what we teach. So there's a couple of foundational pieces that we teach before we kind of dive into all the minutia about fundraising that you could do. And the key message is one part of that. So you may have heard it referred to as case for support. You might have had a church or a foundation ask you if you've got a case for support. It's the same thing. Usually a case for support is a little bit longer. It's more like a one-page document, but we like to think of the key message as these three elements that you start with. My background, this is a second career for me. You might notice I'm not a spring chicken anymore. So this is my second career, about 30 years, as Steph mentioned, leading sales and marketing organizations. So I do have a marketing background, so we can geek out if you want to and talk about Seth Godin and those guys. So I do come to that naturally, but no, everybody at Mission Increase should be able to talk to you about your key message and your case for support.
Yeah, you're speaking my love languages when you said that, Seth Godin and all that. So we can definitely connect.
Yes, good. And you're in Tennessee, did I get that right?
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis. So Indianapolis is a teaching location for us. We don't have someone local there. However, I have a colleague who is in Michigan, and then she comes down and teaches workshops in Indianapolis. So if you sign up, you'll get assigned to her community.
Thanks.
Anything else before we run out of time, and I'll give it back to Steph.
Hey, Arnold, one other question.
Yes.
I mean, I understand the difference between group coaching and one-on-one coaching, but I mean, how do you guys make the distinction on when that's offered, and like, how do you also keep it from being abused?
Oh, good question. So we offer group coaching as a follow-up to the workshop. So if you come to a workshop, typically the next month we offer group coaching. The one-on-one coaching you sign up for individually. So you would get a chance to see your area director's calendar, and you would sign up for that one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
Now that works a little differently if you are in the remote national community, because there's thousands of organizations in that. So that works a little differently about how much coaching you can sign up for.
Sure.
All right. I don't want to overstay my welcome. I see it's 2:00. Steph, I'll give it back to you.
All right. I think Dave Jackson had one more question. So Dave,
Okay.
go ahead and ask your question, and then we'll.
Not a question, actually, just a statement of support and encouragement. Thank you, Arnold, for coming here. Friends of the Family in Oregon has been connected with the Mission Increase out here for the last 10 years or something, out of Portland. And one thing I would just say to everybody on the call, um, God's called us to minister to marriages. God's called Mission Increase to help us do that effectively. And so I would just really encourage you all to check it out. And they're an amazing resource that has really shaped how we've approached nonprofit life and ministry and connecting with donors and champions and shaping our board. And so nothing but good to say about Mission Increase. Thank you, Arnold.
Hey, thank you. So Kevin Whitman and Tracy Nordyke, both rock stars.
Oh man, awesome. They're awesome people.
Yeah.
Well, all right. As we conclude today, I just have a few announcements real quick for you. I want to let you know that next month we're continuing our Donor Connection series, and we're going to get to hear from Dave Jackson, who you just heard from right there. He's going to be speaking on giving campaigns, and then we're going to hear from Amy Guilford on fundraising events. And so we're really excited for next month. So be sure to mark your calendars. That'll be the third Friday of November at noon Central Time. And in between, if you guys need anything at all, or if you have any feedback about today's event, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. You can reach me at steph@marriageinitiative.org, and I'd really love to hear from you guys. So keep an eye out for my follow-up email next week, which will have the recording of this event. And we love you guys so much, and we're so grateful that you're part of the CMI family. So you guys have a great weekend.